Good morning. It is Monday, November 3rd, first trading day in November. Hoping to get the month off to a good start. Unfortunately, the market's been kind of cold the last week, 2 weeks, so not sure how this week's going to turn out, but we're here. We showed up. So 3 stocks I'm looking at from last week. First up is LGCL. This is a 1 million share float. Closed around 420 on Friday. On the daily, the 200's at $24, so plenty of room up to that. You can see it was kind of moving up nicely in after hours. I would look for this one to open around 420, push through 425. And then on the daily, we have room until 483. And then, 483 right here. And then there's a window or a gap up to 577. So we'll see what this one looks like and see if we can push higher. I'm also watching ALPS, 83,000 share float, super low, but it had a pretty significant sell-off the past few days. So this is kind of a bounce off the lows, but if it could get over 357, I'd look for this one to push higher. The 200 daily is at $11. I don't have high hopes for this one, but for lack of anything else, I have it up. And then AHMA, a 1.5 million share float, priced around $6. The 200 is at 468 on the daily chart, so we're above that. It's a recent IPO. This one had a pretty harsh sell-off on Friday. Again, though, it's kind of bouncing up. Just because it's a recent IPO, low float, price is good, and lack of anything else, I have this one up on the third chart as well. I don't have high hopes for this one either, but if you can get over 748, there are no other levels above that, so it could start running. Let's see. My primary focus though is LGCL. I think everyone will be focused on this one, so we could get a nice push at 4 a.m. But just given the overall kind of sentiment of the market and that it's been cold recently, I wouldn't expect this one to hold up. Gotta be really careful to get in, see a pop, and then get out. So we'll see what happens. Big seller there. 450. I tried getting in, but wasn't able to. It's at 475. Tried getting in, but I wasn't able to. Watching the 5-second for a pullback. 10,000 share seller. Yeah, you got some large sellers on the level 2. ALPS is also making a push. ALPS looks... It's hard to tell which one. ALPS pulling back. MSI making a move. Yes, right here. Large seller on ALPS as well. I'll look for this over 488. That's LGCL. I'm gonna take a position there. In at 490. Looking for a push through 520. I saw another large seller pop up. Big seller at 5. Getting a lot of resistance at 5. Seller is slightly getting knocked down slightly. There you go. Can we push through 520? Go ahead and take half right there. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna push through 520. I still have 168 shares. Kind of surprised by the amount of large sellers. I keep seeing 10,000 plus shares pop up on the level 2. I'm watching the 5 second. I want to see if we can get a new high here and then push through 550 like that. We did, but it came right back down. Low of this 1 minute candle is 521. I'm gonna go ahead and take the rest right there. Sold the full position. If I had another trade, I would actually look for a flat top breakout above about 552, 554. Given that the market's been cold, and the fact that this thing keeps having huge sellers on the level 2, I say huge, but it's like 10 to 20,000 shares, which isn't, I guess, huge, but larger. It just has me cautious on this one. I think we should just take profit and get out. And that looks like that was, at least for right now, the right move, because it's came all the way back down to 470. I bet my alarms are getting caught on the audio, and that's probably really annoying. I'll have to check that. I didn't think about that. My scanners have an audio beep every time one hits, and I bet that's getting caught on the recorded audio. So I apologize if that's just constantly going off. I'll make that adjustment for tomorrow. What's going on with the... See, level 2 doesn't even make sense now. I think this is a glitch or something. every position on the level 2 is a minimum of 10,000, or increment of 10,000. I'm not sure what's going on there. Now it's fixed. All right, so just quick trades. Looking at the 5 second chart, this thing, it popped quickly. The level 2 was going before the chart was even updating. I did try jumping in right here at 422. You can see on my order entry. I didn't get filled though, so I canceled it. And then I was kind of, I was at that point, it was extended. I was waiting for a pullback entry, which I did see one over 490, which if you're looking at the 5 second chart, is this kind of pivot right here. It should, yeah, it's not on the 1 minute, but on the 5 second. I was waiting for a break over that. Waited, then got in right here. Took 335 shares for that break. It did break, came right back down. I held though just to give it a chance, and then it moved higher. And as it moved up toward 550, we just kept seeing those 5-digit plus sellers on the level 2. It just seemed like you had a lot of overhead resistance, a lot of a headwind, and it just wasn't going to be easy to push higher. So that's why I decided to take the rest of the position off at 540. And it turned out to be a good decision because, let's see, we sold at 0331. So I sold right here on this last large green candle before it rolled over. So I'm happy with that exit, given what it did. I think if the market were hotter, this thing would have pushed through 550 no problem. And I think you would have got a move a lot higher. But for whatever reason, this thing just had a lot of large sellers in the level 2. So took what we could. You can see the P&L isn't updated yet, so probably averaged like 40 cents a share, so probably like $120 on that trade. Not bad way to start Monday. Yeah, you can see the P&L isn't updated on anything. But however much I made, I'll update the description with it. Man, every time I click over here, it screws up the level 2. There really isn't much else moving. DD, the float is too high. MSPR, nice float, 600,000, but the price is too low, under $1. LGCL is retracing. MSI AI float is a little high at 27 million shares. It's not really doing anything. You are getting a wider range ABCD, but it's also stepping down. So I want to have high conviction on this one, unless it could break above 215 and then hold. ALPS, this one shot up, came all the way back down. And now it's kind of just bouncing off the lows, and that's essentially what it's doing on the daily chart as well. Had a pretty significant event last week that made it sell off all the way down to 221, and now it's kind of just bouncing up off that. Those will work, but they don't always have the highest conviction or the highest follow through. That's really all I see. And the other scanner, you can see not much going on in it as well. We've only had pings between 4 and 403, 4 and 404, and in the last like 5 minutes nothing has hit. So that also reinforces that it's a slower morning. Not much going on. Unfortunately, I think that might set the tone for the week, or at least be the theme for the week, that not much is going on. It's another cold week, but hopefully not. Hopefully we'll get some news catalysts that get November off to a hot start. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I did use all my buying power. I took that trade I entered was 90% of my buying power. I think this P&L is actually right, because it should be about 120 what I made, so 130 on the morning. It's a good start. Not a home run day, but 130, like, that's good, that's decent, so we'll take that. Alright, that's all for me. Good luck everyone. Hope your November is off to a great start.